What is good, y'all, and welcome back to my channel. Today I am reviewing Judas and the Black Messiah, directed by Shaka and starring Daniel Kaluuya and Lakeith Stanfield. The story is focused on Fred Hampton, who is played by Daniel Kaluuya. It is a story inspired by true events. Fred Hampton was the chairman of the Chicago, Illinois chapter of the Black Panthers and was a very charismatic young man. I did not know how young he was until the end of the film. His energy is absolutely compelling. He is a humanitarian and about moving the cause of not only the Black Panthers but human rights forward. He goes as far as trying to join other groups. We see him at a Confederate meeting. Hispanics, he doesn't care. He knows there's power in numbers, and people listen to him because he is very compelling. He's very charismatic, and people want to listen to him. So it doesn't matter what your race, color, or creed is. He was charismatic. He was a direct descendant of the teachings of Malcolm X, which absolutely made him a threat to the U.S. government. As we can look throughout history, anybody who can galvanize people and make them believe we are all one, we are all connected. They don't preach race, they don't preach color, they don't preach creed, they preach unity. They are about oneness. Those people are a threat to the U.S. government. And that insteps the Judas character. His name is Bill in the movie, played by Lakeith Stanfield. He is a petty criminal who gets caught for a federal crime and is given an ultimatum by the FBI and saying, you're going to give us information, you're going to infiltrate the Black Panther Party, specifically Fred Hampton, because he is the intellect, he is the driving force of that movement, which is anti the narrative of the U.S. government. So he does this for a couple reasons. One, he wants to avoid jail time. Understandable, I guess. Two, he doesn't really have a conscience. He is about himself. He is about status and raising up his coin, which brings me to the third point. He has no pride in his community, which is the exact opposite of Fred Hampton. So he is asked early on when he got caught by the FBI, he's like, what were your feelings about Malcolm X and Martin Luther King when they died? He had no emotion because he doesn't really have pride in his community. He has pride in himself. Perfect asset for the FBI. He infiltrates it. So our story is basically him feeding the FBI information on the activity of Fred Hampton and the Black Panther Party. So firstly, talking about the positives of the movie, this story is absolutely compelling. And I'm going to get to this in my final thoughts at the end of the video, but I cannot believe we do not hear more about the Fred Hampton in the history books. I can't remember that much. It was an absolutely compelling story and a gritty underground movement story. I love these types of movies. The characters were complete polar opposites. It's like a Batman and Joker type of thing, except Batman in this case doesn't know that Joker is in the organization, is in the Justice League. You know, it's like that's pretty much what's going on here. It is absolutely compelling story, and that brings me to my other positive. Lakeith Stanfield is absolutely blows it out of the water. Daniel Kaluuya, who I'll talk about in a second, was good, but Lakeith Stanfield, I'm absolutely, as a film lover, movie lover, I'm excited for him and his future in movies. He was in Get Out. He had like a side role in Get Out. That was more Daniel Kaluuya's vehicle, but that was a little taste. And then he did a great job in a movie called Uncut Gems a couple years ago with Adam Sandler. Absolutely great in that. Loved him in this movie. His performance is great. And he played someone that doesn't have a conscience, someone that's worried about, you know, themselves. That's it. He played that person great, and a lot in the third act you get to see that character disintegrate. And so, I mean, the story is pretty much the big one. The story is an A. Easily, Lakeith Stanfield's performance is an A. Now, some things I thought could be improved. Daniel Kaluuya is an absolutely tremendous actor. He is an English actor. Now, I did not know this until after Get Out came out, and I looked him up, and he's doing all these interviews, and he has an English accent. I'm like, he did a great job in this movie, and loved him in it. Now, he does a great job in this movie. He is a classically trained English actor, and you can tell he's a great actor. So that goes to something I thought could be a little bit improved. Now, I absolutely, looking at Fred Hampton, I get the likeness of the two characters. Physically, they look very similar. Daniel Kaluuya is a big name, and he's a great actor. The casting was a layup. I get it. I thought this would have been a good opportunity for a young and up-and-coming actor to get a role in this movie. And someone, no disrespect, that's American. I think this role deserved a little bit of home cooking. It's the difference between going out to a nice steak dinner at a fancy restaurant, everything's nice, and then having a nice home-cooked meal from your grandmother. They are both great. One, you can taste the love in the food. That's what I'm saying when I say can we get somebody in there that has a little bit of American, because this is a story about an American Revolution. So I'm gonna talk about one other thing I thought could be improved. It looked very polished. Now this is a story of a relatively an underground movement. And it wasn't a mainstream movement, but it got like a cult following because a lot of the charisma, because of its cause of bringing people together at a time after during the Vietnam War where people are divided. So they're about humanity at the time, and he was, like I said, able to galvanize the people. Now, and what my point I'm getting at is I thought this could have used a more gritty style of filmmaking. Maybe shoot it, you could tell this film was shot digitally and it's a Hollywood movie. I thought in maybe a more handheld, more film, shooting it in film rather than digital. Obviously I know that's more expensive, but I thought it would have given that little edge and that grittiness. I'm not saying we needed to be in black and white or grainy, but just give it a little bit more of a gritty edge. And also that ties into the costume design and the set design. I could tell I was watching a movie. It looked like they were in a gymnasium sometimes or on a set and they just put up some posters and then that's it. And then let's put up stuff that looks like it. And that also ties, it didn't really feel like Chicago. I've never been to Chicago, but I don't feel like they utilized the city that well in my opinion. And lastly, before I go into my final thoughts, just one thing I didn't really like about the movie, and this is just a personal thing. I don't like overcooked romance in a movie. Not overcooked, but unnecessary romance. Obviously, this is a story of Fred Hampton, his journey. I get it. I have no problem with romance in a movie, but once you've established who these characters are, the woman he's in a romantic relationship with, his partner, they're absolutely on the same page as far as the revolution, the cause. They're on the same level as far as their passion for the movement, but they're also intellectually there. They establish this, but then they drive home the point in other scenes. There's like 2 or 3 scenes, maybe even 4 scenes, where they keep pushing this narrative. I'm not saying you need to cut those scenes out altogether. Edit them down. I think you could have got it down to cut out a good 10, 15 minutes of this movie. It would have upped the pacing, moved the plot forward. Just something I thought could be improved. Not a big deal, but that's my only real, what I would call a negative about the movie. If I'm going to rate this movie, I would give it a hard 3.5, a soft 4. Again, and you're saying, Scott, why is it so low? Why would it be a 3.5? When you slow down the plot, anytime they left Lakeith Stanfield, I wanted to see more him. I wanted to see more of him, what he's doing when he's not feeding the FBI information. Because we saw him with the movement, with the Black Panthers, at the meetings, and then feeding information to the FBI. I wanted to know what he does in his own time. Where is his brain? Is he okay with this? Does he sleep at night? Give me more of an idea about the character. I mean, we see a little bit of disintegration at the end, but not enough. So that pulls movies down for me. And then you could have cut. I don't like too much romance in the movie. Okay, we get it. They're in love. They're on the same page. We don't need 20 minutes of the movie dedicated to that. Absolutely, I get it. It's fine. Some people might not have a problem with it. That's a personal thing. I've had that issue with a lot of movies. So I think it's just a Hollywood thing. I think we have to make these characters more likable, and any way they can. It's probably a studio decision. A few quick final thoughts on the movie. I was compelled to start looking up Fred Hampton and the Black Panther Party right after I got done the movie. Googled it, YouTubed it, wanted to know more. And now I wasn't the best student in high school and middle school. I was, C+ type student, not the best. But 2 classes I always did good in, English, and in this case, focusing on history. I racked my brain. I know it's been a while since I've been in school, but I racked my brain and could not think of more than maybe a blurb or a paragraph or a small section in a history book that talked about the Black Panthers. And when they did, it was primarily focusing on they were vigilantes, violent, whatever it might be. And I don't remember hearing anything about Fred Hampton. If anything, there might have been a sentence. And that's a reach for me to say because I don't remember. He was an absolutely, though, a character that should have been taught in history classes, which is why I would encourage everyone to watch this movie. So you're probably asking, why isn't he in the history books? Well, the history books are distributed by the Department of Education, which is run by the government, which as we discussed earlier, saw this person as a threat to them. Naturally, they don't want to have a big section on him in the history books. We don't want to know too much about those people. We want you to know about who we want you to know about. So I know this is a bold statement, saying this because I'm not a parent, but parents, it's absolutely great that your children are getting an education, but I can't imagine the schedule of a parent, but try to take time and see what your children are being taught, and also what they are not being taught, and encourage them to question things. And in turn, anyone who is in high school, middle school, whatever, don't be ashamed to raise your hand. I was someone who was ashamed to raise my hand. Don't ever be ashamed to be the smartest person in the room, the most intellectual person in the room, because everyone else is trying to get out of school to go watch Jerry Springer and play the video games. Don't be afraid to question things. Thank you everyone for watching the video. I greatly appreciate your time. This movie is available on HBO Max. So if you have HBO Max, check it out. Absolutely recommend it. It's probably also available in theaters. Let me know your thoughts on it if you have seen it. If you liked it, didn't like it, why? Let me know. Also, just let you guys know, I'll be having another video out next Monday reviewing another movie. I'll probably put up some in my community with just some suggestions. Have Friday up, I'll have a little vlog. And next Sunday, I'll have another short movie skit out. But guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I greatly appreciate your time. I will see you guys again soon. Until then, please take care and be well.